Before we get into the video, I really want to give you guys a big shout out. We have just hit 1K after I have recorded the video, so I did want to thank you guys, by recording, and I'm very grateful, very happy, and let's get to more, man. Let's get to more. And hopefully you guys stick with me for the ride, and till whenever this channel exists, which is hopefully a long time. So thank you guys so much, and enjoy the video. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the Heat Report, and welcome back to a brand new video where we talk all things Miami Heat basketball. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the NBA draft, the Miami Heat's potential involvement in the NBA draft, some more trade rumors, and a lot of other things, man. So make sure you guys enjoy the video, leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. We are only 2 subscribers away from 1K as I'm recording this video, and who knows, we might be even hitting 1K when I upload this video. So it's going to be really exciting, man. I'm super excited. It could be today, tomorrow, whenever, but I'm so excited. So make sure you guys, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you guys are new to the channel, man. And let's get right into it. So what we're going to be talking about, NBA draft. I did say I'm going to be making a video of potential undrafted prospects I think the Heat should sign. Obviously I said that I would do it after the draft, but I think I'm going to do it today because today is the day of the draft. I think I'm going to upload it today because I don't want the Heat to sign someone immediately after the draft and then I have to make the video after that. I want to do it before they actually sign someone, and I'm afraid that they're going to sign someone as soon as the draft is over. So if I get something wrong, if they don't sign someone, if these guys get drafted, who cares? I made a list of 5 players, and I'm sure that at least 4 or 3 of those are going to get undrafted. So hopefully you guys enjoy that part. And then we're going to be talking about some Ben Simmons rumors, because it's been reported by a lot of really credible outlets like Woj and stuff that Ben Simmons is on the Heat radar. So I mean, we're going to be talking about potentially Ben Simmons getting traded. But yeah, let's talk about the NBA draft first. Obviously the draft is tonight as this video is coming out, and it's going to be a very exciting draft. I'm super excited to see what moves are made. It's trading up, trading down for picks, whatever, who gets drafted where. Like, I'm a college hoops head, man. I love college basketball. So, this is probably the most exciting time of the year for me. The off season, the draft, free agency. I love it. This is my favorite time of the year. So, I'm so excited for the draft, and I wish we did have a pick, but at the same time, I'm excited to see who we sign undrafted, because Pat did say that we're going to be signing at least a couple guys from the undrafted list. I have a list of 5 people that I have made based on what I've seen from a lot of mock drafts and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of mock drafts, and none of these guys' names have been really mentioned on any of these mock drafts, which indicates that they're probably going undrafted. So that's how I came up with these 5 players, and they're also players that I've watched in college basketball, and I know how they would fit with this team. So let's get right into it. The first name we're going to be talking about is David Duke, who is a guard from Providence. He's 6'5", and at Providence at 2020-2021 stats, he averaged about 17, 6, and 5 assists per game. The only weakness with him is his inefficiency, and he's not the greatest 3-point shooter. I mean, he is pretty good. He's above average. He shot 38%, which is really good, but he's not elite at shooting the 3. But apart from that, I don't really see any weaknesses in his game. He's an older player, which is why I don't think people will select him. But I think the Heat should go after older guys anyway, because that's what we do for undrafted guys. Like Duncan and Kanan were not young by any means. They were pretty old for rookies. So I think that's what we're going to be doing with these undrafted guys. David Duke is 21 right now, and no mock draft that I've seen has taken him at 1 through 60, so which indicates that he's probably going to go undrafted unless the team surprises me. He is a very good playmaker. He can rebound really well for a guard. Like I mentioned, he's averaging about 6.3 rebounds per game for a 6'5" guard. He's shown that he can pick up people full court. He's very good at creating his own shot. And I do think that the Heat could really use a guy like this. He's a very skilled player. I think he could become a very good 3-and-D guard in the future. And I think that, if we can pick him up, it could be one of the steals of the draft for me, because I really, really like his game. He played at Providence. There are some highlights of him on YouTube or something if you want to watch them. But yeah, I like his game, and I really, really like his game, and I do think that the Heat could benefit from a guy like this, 3-level scorer, can pick up people full court at the guard position. I love it. I absolutely love it. Next, we're going to be talking about Shaun D. Brown, probably one of my favorite players out of this class, because I was a really, really big fan of Michigan's team, and I love Shaun D. Brown. I love what he did. If you watch the Michigan game against LSU, he was the reason Michigan won that game. Like, he was the guy who was knocking down big shot after big shot, making big play after big play. He was a very, 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 great 3-and-D player for Michigan. He shot 41.9% from deep. That's crazy. With the 61.2 true shooting percentage. And he's a very, very high flying athlete. He can play defense. I love his game, and he fits the culture like no other, man. He is a Heat culture player. He dives on loose balls. He, goes after everything. I love his game. I absolutely love his game, and I think that the Heat could really, really, use a 3-and-D player if we need to, just to plug in. He can be a shooter if we need a shooter. If one of our shooters is gone, like Duncan or something, Shaun D. Brown is a guy that can come in and become a 3-and-D guy and can really, really help us. So I love Shaun D. Brown's game. I'm super excited to see where he goes, but I would love the Heat to pick him up. He's a 6'5" guard, 215 pounds. He's not a ball dominant guy. He's just a guy who's gonna catch and shoot, occasionally, cut to the rim and dunk on someone, and definitely, play his heart out on defense. So I love Shaun D. Brown, and I think, whoever picks him up, it'll be a steal for them. I hope the Heat, look into him. And then next, we're going to be talking about probably my favorite, prospect who I think might be undrafted, Moses Wright from Georgia Tech. I love him, man. I just think that Moses Wright is, he's a forward slash center. He's a 6'9" forward, weighing 233 pounds. He's a senior. He averaged about 17, 8 rebounds, 1.5 steals, 1.6 blocks. He has shown versatility on defense where he can switch onto the perimeter, and he can guard multiple positions. He has a very high motor. He has shown flashes as far as playmaking is concerned. He's a very good two-way player. He drastically has improved his three-point percentage from last year. In his first 3 years in college, he was shooting about 17% from three, and then in his senior year, he shot 41% from three, which shows that he's been in the gym. He's been working on his shot. He's been working on his craft, and he's a very, very gifted athlete, high motor, great wingspan, length, all that stuff. He's a guy that I would expect the Heat to look at, because the Heat really like these guys. He reminds me, a lot of what Precious was last year. Obviously, Precious was a lot younger, but he has that similar type of game for me. And he's definitely shown that he's improved his spacing. So I don't see why in the future, if you want to play him next to Bam, I don't see why it wouldn't work like that. Obviously, he's older. He's already 22, if I'm not mistaken. So, the potential is not as high. But, I think the Heat are not looking for guys with potential. I think they're looking for guys who can come in right now and contribute, because they're a team that's not really, tanking or anything. They're trying to contend. So he perfectly fits what the Heat need. He's probably the only forward on this list, forward center on this list. Not forward. He's probably the only big on this list. So, and I would love the Heat to pick him up. I would absolutely love it for the Heat to pick him up. Next, we're going to be talking about probably the best shooter who's going to go undrafted, Jordan Schakel out of San Diego State. This man is an absolute torch. He shot 46% from three. He's a Duncan Robinson replacement, in my opinion. If Duncan Robinson is gone, if the Heat don't want to match anything for Duncan Robinson, Jordan Schakel is a guy that we can pick up right away, and he can become a Duncan Robinson replacement, because he's a guy who's going to be ready from day one. He can shoot the ball really, really well. He averaged 14 points per game and 4 rebounds per game while shooting 46% from three. He's 23 years old already, which is pretty old, but for a shooter, the age doesn't really matter, because if you can shoot, you can shoot. And nearly 66% of his shots came from the 3-point line, and he's a 91% free throw shooter. His true shooting percentage was 66%. His career 3-point percentage is 43%. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. The only problem is that his defense is not, great. It's all right. It's average, but it's not anything to be, write home about. He's not, a great rebounder or anything like that, but he's a shooter. He reminds me a lot of what Duncan was when we picked him up. So I would absolutely love Jordan Schakel on the Heat. Hopefully, we look into him, especially if Duncan Robinson is gone, because I do think that he's a guy that can come in and just contribute right away from San Diego State. So I like his game. I think that, if we need a shooter, he's always going to be there on the undrafted market. And lastly, Marcus Garrett out of Kansas. This is a guy who's a defensive specialist. He reminds me a lot of what Matisse Thybulle was when he was coming out of the draft. Obviously, he's I think a little bit better offensively. He shot really, really well from the free throw line compared to his first 3 years. He shot 81% in his senior year, whereas he shot 57% in his first 3 seasons. But his value is on the defensive end. He was the defensive player of the year in 2019-2020. He averaged 1.6 steals per game over the last 3 seasons. And yeah, he shot 35% from 3, which is not terrible, especially for a guy who's touted for his defense. If he can become a great 3-and-D player, I would love that on the Heat. So he's shown to be a good playmaker, good average rebounder, but his value comes on the defensive end. If we need a defensive specialist, Marcus Garrett, who's a 6'5" guard, out of Kansas, could really do that. I do think that he could be a defensive guy that people could pick up and immediately plug in, like a Matisse Thybulle was from Washington. So a lot of these guys I do think have the skill set of some of the guys who are going to be drafted, but the reason that they're going to go undrafted is because of their age. But I do think that 4-year players and guys who are skilled, the advantage you have with them is that they know their role and they're coming in and they're performing their role at a high level. Guys like Javon Carter, Fred VanVleet, Spencer Dinwiddie, people like that who have been 4-year players are going to come into the league and then do what they've been doing in college. And guys like Cam Johnson, who was an older rookie. A lot of people were laughing at the Phoenix Suns for picking him that high, but he came in and when he was asked, what more can you improve on, he even said himself, I don't need to improve on anything because I know what my role is. So that's the advantage you have with these guys. They don't have the upside, but they have the intelligence and they know what to do. They know how to play their role, which is why you're going to see a lot of these 4-year guys going to contending teams because they can help right away on a championship level team. So these are the 5 guys that I had on my list. And now let's talk about some trade rumors. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the 5 guys that I had on the list. Ben Simmons, man. Ben Simmons is a name that has been floating around for the past couple of days. A lot of trade rumors, a lot of potential trade packages that the Sixers have been asking for, stuff like that. And apparently, this is from Woj, the Heat, the Kings, and the Raptors have been the most aggressive in pursuing Ben Simmons. Now, I was like, no way. There's no way we're going to be doing this because I just did not know how Ben Simmons would fit on this team. I have absolutely no idea what Ben Simmons' fit is on this team, but apparently the Heat are pursuing him. And the Sixers want a package of 4 first-round picks, 3 pick swaps, and a young player for Ben Simmons. That's what they wanted from the Spurs. Now, the Heat don't even have that. We don't even have the picks and the swaps. The young player, I'm assuming, is probably Tyler. But I don't know what the value is with trading for Ben Simmons. Like why are we trading for Ben Simmons when we already know that him and Jimmy do not have a great relationship? We know that they don't have a great relationship. And number 2, how is he going to fit on this team? Are we going to have 3 non-shooters? That doesn't make any sense. Bam and Jimmy will clog up the paint with whatever they're doing. And then you add another guy in Ben Simmons who's going to be trying to drive to the paint. Now, this can only work in my eyes if Bam starts shooting threes and if Jimmy starts shooting threes more. Because if Bam starts shooting threes, he'll be on the 3-point line more often. And same with Jimmy if he starts shooting them more. That way you can have Ben Simmons do his thing while driving to the rim. Well, I don't think that's going to happen because I don't think Bam is going to start all of a sudden shooting threes. Like we've seen with Spo, he likes to gradually develop players. I think Bam is going to start taking that mid-range shot a lot more consistently this year, but I don't know if we're going to see him taking threes. And definitely Jimmy. I don't think Jimmy will take threes either. Jimmy's a guy who's going to want to drive to the rim. Hopefully, he will start taking some more threes because of the rule changes with the drawing fouls. You know, it's not going to be as easy to draw fouls. And Jimmy, as we know, is one of the best in the league at drawing fouls. So if that's not working for him, he might try to, you know, shoot some threes. But I just don't know. I don't know how Ben Simmons will get on this team. I don't know how he will fit on this team. Obviously, the defensive thing would be good. You know, Ben, Jimmy, Bam. It's a great defensive core. But offensively, our offensive rating would be absolute garbage. And he just does not have a good relationship with Jimmy. So I don't know why we would do this trade. If we can get him for like a bargain, I'd do it. Like if it was just like, you know, if the Sixers were desperately trying to get him off his hands and get him off their hands, and if they were trying to just, you know, take anyone like a Goran or a whoever, then I would probably do it, obviously. But, you know, for the package that they want and the factors that we already have with Jimmy being on the team and him and Jimmy not having a good relationship and the spacing, I just don't know how that'll work. So, you know, hopefully, you know, these rumors are just fake or the smoke screens or whatever. But apparently Ben Simmons is likely to be traded in the next 48 hours, and that was reported at midnight. So in the next 48 hours, which means on Saturday or Saturday morning, I'm pretty sure, is when the when Ben Simmons is going to be traded. Apparently that's what Woj said, and Woj is credible, so we all know what Woj is about. So I'll be very, very interested to see who trades for Ben Simmons and you know, who picks him up. Obviously the Raptors and the Kings are the other teams. The Kings, I just don't see the fit with De'Aaron Fox. Like, none of them can play the shooting guard position. If you want to play Ben at power forward, you can play Ben at power forward, but the spacing, you're going to have to surround him with great shooting. The Raptors would be interesting, but they already offered the Raptors a package where the Raptors had to give them back Lowry, Van Vliet, and OG, and the 4th overall pick, and the Raptors declined, obviously, because that was a dumb trade offer by the Sixers. So I don't know how they're going to pull off a trade with them. But whatever team Ben Simmons goes to, Daryl Morey has to lower his asking price, because there's no way a team is throwing 4 first-round picks, 3 pick swaps, and a young player for Ben Simmons, who was absolutely terrible in the playoffs last year. I still think he can be a good player, but his value is a lot lower than that right now. So that's my thoughts about Ben Simmons. I do not want him on this team. Like, no disrespect to him, but I just don't think that he'll be, you know, a good fit on this team whatsoever. And I don't think we have the assets to trade for him based on what the Sixers want. I think it'll actually be easier to trade for Lillard than it would be for Ben Simmons, because the Sixers are tripping. So that's my thoughts about Ben Simmons. And lastly, Lonzo Ball. The Heat are interested in signing Lonzo Ball. I would love this. I think the Heat should get on this as fast as possible, especially if the Pelicans get Kyle Lowry. Because if the Pelicans get Kyle Lowry, they will not be matching anything for Lonzo Ball. And I think Lonzo Ball will be cheaper than Lowry, probably cheaper than Dinwiddie, because Dinwiddie is going to be wanting 25 apparently. Lonzo, I think, will be wanting 20 million per year, and I think we could pay him that. I think he would come in. He's already, you know, refined his game into being a great shooter. He's one of the best guard defenders in the NBA. Yes, I said it. He is. If you watch Pelicans game, you know what I'm talking about. He's one of the best guard defenders in the NBA. All he needs is a good system who can implement him and, you know, give him the confidence to drive to the rim. You know, when he was with the Lakers, a lot of teams could figure him out, because everyone knew when he was driving to the rim, he was trying to pass. So no one was going to, you know, help. No one was going to, you know, come off shooters and anyone else. Everyone was just going to, you know, just be spread out. No one was collapsing the defense, because everyone knew that he was trying to pass and not shoot, and then he would miss a layup because he was so focused on passing. So I think once he figures that out with that part of his game where he's, you know, being more aggressive, he can become an all-star caliber player in this league, in my eyes. I think he's a very talented player. He was a 2nd overall pick for a reason, and I do think that the Heat should jump on this as fast as possible. It's been reported from a Pelicans insider that the Pelicans' time with Lonzo Ball is over, so they might not even match anything for them. So, you know, I would love Lonzo Ball in the Heat. I would absolutely love it. You know, he's a guy that I didn't even mention in the last video when I was talking about 8 or 9 names that the Heat should, you know, sign at least one of them. Lonzo Ball is on that list for sure. You know, Lonzo Ball should be, you know, one of the names that the Heat are considering, because he would fit that point guard position to a T, and I would love him on the Heat. So that's my feelings about Lonzo Ball. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. This was a very, very long video for my standards. I did the 5, you know, undrafted players that I think we should sign. I talked about Ben Simmons rumors. I talked about the Lonzo Ball rumors. Obviously, the draft is tonight. I will, you know, update you based on what happens during the draft. Maybe some trades will happen. The Heat just posted, you never know what's going to happen on draft night, so maybe something's going to happen. We'll see, though. I'll see y'all later as always, man. Enjoy the draft. Enjoy the video.